Alright, what's up guys? Today I wanted to make a fun video. So, I'm going to make a video titled, You May Be an ENTP If... And I made a list. Obviously I made a list because if I didn't make a list I wouldn't get through all my talking points. So, and I go off on tangents and stuff. I'll probably do that anyway, but I'll at least have some sort of a guide to go off of to keep me on track. I want to stay on track for this video. So, alright, without further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. Alright, the first one. You may be an ENTP if you are often using yourself to test experiments. You're often your own lab rat or test subject in your wacky and weird experiments. Typically, you use yourself to test these probably because other people don't trust you or they don't understand, and therefore they wouldn't make very good test subjects. And you want to be able to control your test subject. So, who better to use as a test subject than yourself? And so you end up using yourself to test, I don't know, weird diets and weird like fitness regimens and stuff. The second one, you may be an ENTP if the future and its possibilities give you a buzz or get you a little high. You enjoy thinking about the future and what it has to hold, what it has to offer you, and all the possibilities of the future excite you. And when you get to see that there's a bigger picture that you're working towards, or especially if it's a bigger picture that you know you're going to enjoy, if it's a future that you're going to enjoy, then you get really excited off of that, and you probably more than the average person would. A lot of people have their head in the future, like they're thinking of the future, but they're not usually really excited by it. And they're excited for different reasons. They're excited because they're dreaming of a big house or a nice car, and you're excited because you don't know what to expect, or because I don't know. I don't really know. As an ENTP, you just get excited for the future. The next one, you may be an ENTP if you think you have ADHD or others have told you that you probably have some sort of attention deficit disorder. I don't know if all ENTPs have attention deficit disorder or a similar disorder, mental disorder, or if maybe the reason we are ENTPs is because we have some sort of disorder. I don't know. But I do know that ENTPs are typically have an attention deficit when it comes to interacting with the outside world. They're typically lost in thought, and that causes them to be a little bit, I don't know, that causes other people that we're interacting with to be a little annoyed by us because we can't stay on topic, or they can't keep up with our conversation, or we just tend to, I don't know, just be distracted. I remember when I was learning to drive, I was listening to the radio, and my mom was in the car, and she freaked out because I almost rear-ended someone, because I almost rear-ended someone going like 65 miles an hour on a highway, because they had stopped and I was thinking about the lyrics of the song that was on the radio. I didn't even like the song, I was just thinking about the lyrics. Anyway, here's a good one. You like abstract or unusual music or other forms of artistic expression. Not necessarily like staring at art, although some ENTPs might like art, but you may be an ENTP if you like just the weird, abstract, new, novel music or TV shows or movies. I know a lot of people didn't like Inception. I loved Inception because it was new. It was something new. It was something that we hadn't seen before not in television, but in movies in Hollywood. And I like the indie music scene because it's not mainstream. It's not. You may be an ENTP if you like to be different. If you enjoy being different, you embrace being different. Okay, here's a good one. I know most ENTPs can probably relate to this. Alright, you may be an ENTP if you never sleep. You're nocturnal, you're a night owl, and you just enjoy the quiet time at night when you can find weird things on the internet or find weird things to read about. And I know a lot of the time I end up on some of the weirdest places within the internet during late hours of the night at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll have class in the morning and I'll still be on the internet looking up YouTube videos of like pyramids and aliens and stuff. I don't know. I always end up in the weirdest places on the internet if it's late at night. and there's no distractions, so you just kind of let your mind wander and you end up in weird places. Alright, so the next one, you set high standards for yourself and sometimes for others. As an ENTP myself, I can personally attest to this. I have incredibly high standards for myself, and that probably comes from the fact that I have an image of what I want to become. Like, I have an image of the future that I've imagined, and so I set high standards for myself and others so that I can reach that. I can someday become that person that I've envisioned in my head. So because of that, I tend to have high standards for myself, sometimes unrealistic standards. Alright, so the next one is, you may be an ENTP if you have no patience for stupid people. When you can see that the person you're talking to, you can see in their eyes there's just nothing going on in their head, and you have nothing to learn from that person, you have nothing to gain from talking to that person. I know me personally, I probably would just walk. I'd walk out the door, because I can't stand people who just are either really closed-minded and know nothing, or not necessarily just ignorant, because ignorant people can give you someone to talk about with, or to talk about weird things with, and then maybe teach them something. If you're a little bit more patient with them, you can sometimes teach them. They may be more attentive to what you're saying, if that makes any sense. Yeah, so stupid people. Sometimes those stupid people can be fun to manipulate as an ENTP. I think we all have tendencies to be manipulative, especially towards stupid people who don't know any better. But eventually that's going to get boring too, and we're eventually just going to leave. So we have no patience for stupid people in general. Alright, you may be an ENTP if you have crappy handwriting, because your mind works faster than your hands do. So you're thinking of sentences to write, and because of that, because these sentences are flowing through your head at 90 miles an hour, and you're writing, you're trying to keep up, but your handwriting's bad, and you're not crossing your T's and dotting your I's, because who has time for that crap? So your handwriting becomes chicken scratches, and you don't care because it's legible to you, and that's all that matters. And your teachers hate you because of it. Oh, this is one I know we can all relate to. Alright. You may be an ENTP if you love arguing. Like, you just love arguing. You love the thrill of arguing. You love seeing the debate in your mind. You're standing in the shower and you're thinking about arguing with someone about something. You run arguments through your mind even when there's no one around. Like, even when there's no one around, you're arguing with yourself. You may be an ENTP if you talk to yourself, or if you argue with yourself. I know that I talk to myself all the time. People think I'm crazy, but I don't know. It's not the same. If you're thinking it inside your head, it just doesn't seem as real. So I'm typically seen, I may be accidentally seen talking to myself, and it may seem crazy, but maybe I am crazy. You may be an ENTP if you start books, but you take months or maybe even years to finish them. Because books, ENTPs, at least me anyway, I don't read books for entertainment. I read books to gain knowledge or gain insight. So I don't typically read novels or I don't typically read fiction books. I'm usually found reading a non-fiction book, maybe like a self-help book or something. Yeah, and it takes me like months to finish one book, and by the time that I've started, or by the time that I'm halfway through that book, I'm reading another book, and then I'm reading another book and another book, and eventually I'm reading an entire library of books, and I've lost interest in the first book, and maybe I'll go back in the future and read that book and finish it, or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just never get to it again. That's just the way the ENTP mind works. It's really hard to keep our attention, especially if there's a book full of knowledge. You read one part of it, and then you gain some insight, and then you can start looking further into that part of the book, and that just makes your mind wander more and more and more, and then you end up reading like the whole library's worth of information just because you can't get enough of it. You enjoy the thrill of finding out something new, and because of that initial excitement at new information, you just kind of you stop reading. I don't know. ENTPs can probably relate to that. You may be an ENTP if you actually enjoy going to classes where you're learning something. like the more information to be had in a classroom, the better. When most people just want to sit in a classroom and get a degree, the ENTP is going to class to learn. They don't give two cares about the degree that they're going to receive. More than likely, they're only going to college to learn something new. And if they're not learning something new, they're probably going to walk out the door because it's going to be boring as heck. You may be an ENTP if you're listening to what someone's saying, but your mind is wandering, and because of that, your eyes are looking everywhere. They're like looking over the person's shoulder, looking at the ceiling, looking at the floor, and then you realize that person's annoyed at you because they're talking, and it doesn't seem like you're paying attention. But in all reality, you can probably say everything that person was saying back to them. You can repeat word for word what they just said, but your eyes are just everywhere, all over the place. And it may seem rude, but that's just the way our minds work. We're paying attention, I promise. Well, sometimes. Sometimes we're paying attention, and it just doesn't seem like it. Alright, you may be an ENTP if you're always late. You're always late to places, and you have to train yourself to be on time, and even then, you're usually like at least a couple minutes late, if not 15 minutes or more. And you just walk into places late, and it doesn't bother you like it bothers other people. Other people don't appreciate being late, and they don't appreciate you being late, but you run off your own time schedule. You see time differently than a lot of people do. Alright, you may be an ENTP if you hate making decisions. If you leave decisions until the last minute, you may be an ENTP. I know personally I hate making decisions, even small decisions. They cause me a lot of anxiety. You may be an ENTP if people think your room or your car or something is dirty, but it's really not. Dirty and disorganized, in the sense that it's disorganized, but it's really not. You have your own system of organization, and you can remember where everything in your room is, and then when someone cleans it, you're screwed up because they moved everything, and though it may look clean to them now, you see it as being dirty because you can't, or unorganized because you can't find anything anymore. You may be an ENTP if you have hundreds of hobbies and you're still working on more hobbies. You're still finding more hobbies. When other people might have like 2 or 3 hobbies or 2 or 3 passions in life, you find something like I don't know, snowboarding or something. You have one hobby like snowboarding, and then you have another like biology, something unrelated, but you still are passionate about both those things, and you have hundreds of hobbies that you're constantly working on. You may be an ENTP if you are always either underdressed or overdressed for the occasion. I typically love dressing up, but if it's a really formal event, I'll always find myself less dressed up than everyone else. I don't know. I don't know if that's just me or if that's everyone else, other ENTPs as well. You may be an ENTP if you procrastinate but still get decent grades in school and in college, and you get everything done. You're capable of doing everything at the last minute, and because of that, you've grown confident in the fact that you can get things done, and because of that, you procrastinate more and more and more until you become just like the master procrastinator. And other people get mad because they spent months or weeks studying for a big final or a big test, and you read like maybe one paragraph, if you even did that, and you still got like a B on it. Like, a B's okay, but you didn't have to work for it really all that much. You just sat through the class and you're still getting good grades, and people wonder like how the heck you can do that. You may be an ENTP if people say you're cold or heartless because you don't have feelings, and you're just like a machine. I don't know. I've heard other people complain about how I don't have empathy or I don't have a heart, and that's probably due to the fact that I value thinking and logic and truth over people's feelings, and that typically manifests itself in arguments. When I'm having arguments with people, they're getting mad and pissed off because they're arguing with feelings, and I'm just destroying their argument because I'm arguing with logic, and they don't like that. They don't like to be proven wrong, and they don't like to argue. But we ENTPs love to argue, and we love to prove people wrong, and that rubs a lot of people the wrong way, especially the more feeling types. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out. This was just a list that I made in like 5 minutes. So I would appreciate it if you had any other experiences to list them below in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this video, just pile drive that like button, and hopefully I'll be making more videos in the future. Thanks for watching.